And in this brief tutorial, I really wanted to just give you some time to spend some real self-reflection on your unique skill set. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that people have so many different skills. They have different knowledge, experience, and just so much that they can be sharing with people out in the global community. But often we get so busy that we forget to just take a time, it's a moment to pause and really get clear on remembering some of the unique skill set that we have. So this particular tutorial is really just an overview. It's not we don't go in too deep, but for those that have ever been on any of my business workshops, or even those that have been involved in business coaching with me, I always hear some very similar themes, and people set up a business or they're thinking about setting up a business, and they talk about the fact that, they don't necessarily have the right education or qualifications, or, why would someone want to read my book or listen to, my podcast, or, go on one of my workshops. I don't have everything that I need to share with other people. So I can't cover limitations and limiting beliefs in this particular module. But if you go to my website at my.wholesai.com, it's on the screen there, you can go to the free stuff tab, and you'll find that there's a whole range of free worksheets there that talk about limiting beliefs. I also have some podcast episodes. If you start at number 1, you really start to understand how the subconscious works, and how sometimes you take on limitations from other people that aren't necessarily yours. So I want you to live your best life, and I want you to just, if you can, take the time to invest and sit down and have some self-reflection with this video tutorial. Believe it or not, you have skills that someone needs. Now, again, I don't want to talk about limitations, but I've been, obviously I'm a mum, and I know that some of the skills that I have used and integrated as being a mother into our family life have been, so useful, and I have shared my parenting skills with other people. I know so many people that have really awesome time management skills. So you don't always have to focus on the fact that it's some sort of advanced, educational requirement to share your skills and knowledge. I want you to start thinking about some of the things that, people identify that you're really good at, because I know that you are really good at something and many things. So that's why I want to take you through this process that I've taken other people through on some of my workshops. So if you've ever written a resume, you're probably going to have a little bit of an advanced start, because you can literally go and grab your current resume, and you can start to, in a moment, extract from that particular resume all of the different skills and experience that you've had in some sort of career or self-employment, or whether it's volunteering or whatever it might be. So if you've had a resume, that's, great. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. You're going to go through this process, and this is an ongoing process. It's not something that you just do once. You continue to add to it. So I want to show you what that looks like. So I guess what we're looking to do is, I want you to start thinking about things that you're good at. Are there any particular areas of your life? For instance, do you have a dinner party and people say, wow, you're so good at catering, it's amazing? Or, for instance, I used to have birthday parties and people used to say, wow, you're so good at all the decorations. Or no shock or horror that I used to run an event management company and specialised in corporate functions, weddings and birthdays. And even when I learnt to be a balloon decorator, so I've had a very diverse, lots of self-employment opportunities, and also careers within employment places. I'll share with that in a moment. But have a little think about what you're good at. What do people mention that they notice that you're really good at? Is it creativity? Is it technology? Is it health and fitness? I've got some friends that are really amazing at organisation. They're so good at getting everything into, I guess, succinct order of flow charts, checklists, all that sort of stuff. And I have to admit, I've always been very good at teaching, and I've always been very good at multitasking, and I'm very creative. So start to consider that, what are some of the areas that you've had experience in? And as I said, it's not just work, it can be volunteering, attending your kids' parenting committee meetings, sport, list some of the things that you're particularly good at. And I also want you to, as you go through this process, start to ask people that know you, what do people notice that you do really well? So what I want you to do is I want you to grab out either a large piece of paper or just an A4 sheet of paper and put it out so that it's a landscape, so you can really write out some of your skills. And what I want you to do is I want you to consider that at the moment, although the overarching aim of this particular tutorial is to help you to understand the possibility of creating some digital products. The fact is you can use it in so many different ways. It might be just a hobby for you. It might be utilising some of your skills just to improve your quality of life and your organisation and whatever you are doing currently in your own home or space. So it doesn't have to be business related, but what I'm going to be talking about today is probably a little bit more business related because a lot of people have been asking for that. So on a piece of paper, you're going to, if you've got a resume, just start to drag out all of the different high-level overarching topics that you can start to consider. And then under that, and I'll show you in a moment an example of exactly what mine looks like, and under those topic areas, for instance, I used to run a event management company, and under that I wrote event planning, coordination, time management, people skills, so all of these different skills that you have. Because as I said, you have a unique skill set that no one else has because it's unique to you. And so, again, I want you to be really proud and embrace all of these amazing, unique skills, knowledge and experience that you have because, trust me, someone out there does need it. So I'll just give you first a little visual that I did just in Canva, just so I can show you some of the things that I've done, and I'll show you in a moment the actual sheet that I did on paper. Now, I personally, having practiced behavioural psychology for quite a while now, I do personally believe that there is something very unique when you write things down with a pencil or a pen or a text or whatever it might be. It's just the way that the left and right side brain activity works. So if you can, I'd prefer you to do what I'm about to show you on paper. I'm only just simply showing you this digital version just because it pretties it up a bit and you can have a little scan just visually what I've done. So for me, from the age of 16 to date, I've been in so many different careers and have run so many different businesses. Most people would say, how is that humanly possible at your age? But because I don't like to just sit in one space. I like to explore. It's just part of my nature. So I've ran an event management business. I've ran a cleaning business. I've ran business workshops for government. I started off working in retail. I then went on to trained to be a travel agent. I've worked in government for, over 1 decade or more than that. And I've ran holistic psychology clinic, workshops. And on top of that, I used to make soy candles because I used to run meditation classes and I really didn't want people breathing in all the other toxic candles that were on sale. And people loved them so much, but I didn't want to keep making them. So I then started running candle making classes and jewelry classes and art classes and just so many. So I've never felt limited to one particular area. I love to explore. And one of the interesting things is that, just to give you an idea that you might be able to identify this within your own life, I worked in retail over 35 years ago. But after I finished retail and my children were quite young and I wanted to stay home, I ran an event management business. But what I also did is I went to local shops and offered to do freelance window dressing for them. I loved visuals. So I would go around the place and actually dress up people's windows. And the way I explained to them is that because I'd worked in retail, I knew what people were looking for. And so, again, never limit yourself to one particular thing. Have a think about all the different things that you've done in your life, not just professionally, but also personally, and think about how you can transfer those skills to be able to share with others. So this is what your your list is going to look like. This is a photo of mine. It was done on paper, and I've done this a few times, and I keep adding to it. So again, I want it to be a flow and fluid process. Once you've written down all of these things on paper, now this took me around about an hour, but I'm very fast at writing, and I want you to consider you might be able to do it over a week or year, and you can keep adding to it. But what I want you to do is I want you to draw yourself in the middle, you and your skills, or you and your USS, which is unique skill set. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start to writing some overarching things that you've done. Now, this is not a conclusive list. This is just me showing you an example of what mine looks like. I've spent about 10 years running fundraisers for different charities. So I haven't put my volunteering on there, but I could. So there's lots of things that I haven't put on there yet. And as I said, I've done several of these. But what I want you to do is I want you just to start writing some overarching topics, and then what I want you to list under it what you've actually done in those particular areas. Now you can get a bit more fine details. You can write some specific skills that you have. For instance, if you've interested in fitness and you've lost a lot of weight, you might write that you've basically learnt how to create meal plans, how you've learnt fitness routines, how you understand a bit of the anatomy of the body, or whatever it might be. So again, remember, yours is going to look very different to mine. So just when you get a chance, pause this video and start to just write some overarching topics. And then what I want you to do is just to start writing down a few things that come from those topics. And what you're going to do when you've completed this process, as I said, it might take you, a couple of days. You might not be feeling in the right feeling to do it right now. But once you've completed it, what I want you to do then is I want you to just, with a different coloured pen, just start to identify some areas that you really have an interest in. So in my case, I want to show you, let's go back. So in my case, I'll grab these little icons that I put on the right here, and I would circle particular areas. So for instance, I would circle grant funding, because that, having written over $1 million in successful grant funding, and having taught people to apply for grants and win over 1.5 million to date, I really love sharing the opportunity for people to access grant funding. Another one that I really, really love is my communication workshop and my vision board workshops. And another thing that I really like is I've had a few people asking me how to set up my podcast, their podcast, or how to record online workshops, and how to write ebooks, how to create planners, and all of that sort of stuff. So for me, I have on paper just drawn a circle around the things that are particularly of interest to me. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for things that bring me joy. Now, if you've heard of Maria Kondo, you would have maybe heard of her decluttering process, and she talks about bringing you joy, whether an item brings you joy. Well, this is the same thing. I want you to find things that bring you joy. Particular areas you're going to be drawn to more than others. Now, I've got about 120 workshops that I'm putting online over the next couple of years, but there are particular ones that I'm really drawn to, so that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. So what I want you to do is, as I said, feel free to pause this video and start going through this process of writing an overarching topic, and then starting to, drill down a little bit more into some of the skills that you have. But if you want to watch the entire presentation and then go back and do that, please do what works for you. So Again, what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in the middle and you're going to start to write your overarching topics around the edges, and you're just going to keep adding to it as you go. Now, obviously, some of you are going to want to create products to sell. Some of you are just going to want to share this information. Some of you are going to use it for yourself, or it might be for a complete hobby. It doesn't really matter. All we're doing at the moment is identifying your skills and looking at ways that you can use those skills for yourself or to share with others. So I guess the steps to your unique skill set, just to summarise, is grab some paper out, draw yourself in the middle. Step 2 is list out all your roles, jobs, experiences, and really start to pay particular attention at things that bring you joy. In step 3, I want you to circle the top 3 topics that you feel compelled to start with. Now, note, I don't want you to overthink it. Sometimes people get overwhelmed and they go, where are we going to start? There's just so much. Please don't overthink it. Just have fun with this process without an expectation of having to do anything with it. Take the pressure off yourself and just have a play around with this particular unique skill set technique. When you feel ready, then in step 4, I want you to find just one topic, just one topic to start with, and I want you to create something just for fun. And once you've completed a fun activity, it might be to create a planner, it might be to create a blog, you might write create a worksheet or whatever it might be. I want you then to do some research into further developing it into a business concept. Now, what I mean by that is, if, for instance, you've identified that you want to create a blog on a particular topic, then go and have a look at other people that are also writing about that topic. If you want to write an ebook, then again, go and do some research about people that are in that topic area and have a look at how they're marketing themselves. How are they increasing their engagement with people in their community or their audience? Now, as I said, I can't cover everything in this particular tutorial, but feel free to continue to check out my.wholesai.com at my website, because I am going to continue to keep offering workshops there in that space. For instance, how to create a podcast and how to create planners and ebooks and how to write online courses. So stay tuned and keep a lookout for all of the stuff that is there, along with all the free stuff that can help you, support you in getting clearer in your ideas. Now, so these are some of the things, as I said, that you can share your skills with others. There are so many different ways. And again, as I said, we're talking a little bit more about people that want to create more digital type products than bricks and mortar stores at the moment. So what is something that you could share your skills via? Could it be a blog? Could it be an ebook? Could it be, anything that you can think of? And have a think about how you can do that. But I also want you to consider, what's your motivation? I love sharing and I love encouraging other people. I really have always been a cheerleader. I love supporting people to succeed at whatever they are driven to succeed at. And I love to see tangible outcomes. If I support people to create a business, then I really celebrate when they actually get it up and running and they start to get some wins on the board and succeed. If I'm helping people to set up a podcast, I love hearing their podcast. So what are you motivated by? And I guess when you understand your motivation, you're more likely to take those skills and turn it into something useful. As I said, there are so many different ways that you can use your skills. For example, before I wrap up, have you ever decluttered your pantry and you've thought to yourself, what, that actually would really be really useful step-by-step worksheet that I could create for people with photos and things like that, and either give it away or sell it. Have you ever experienced in essential oils? I love essential oils. Can you create something, an ebook or a planner to share with someone? If you've been involved in travel, or health or fitness or, art. There are some amazing artists out there sharing their skills in online workshops. Whatever it may be, I really look forward to celebrating your success. I wish you all the best of luck. And, keep in touch, go to my website, feel free to email me, and I'd really love to hear what unique skill set you actually have identified and how you're going to share them. Much love from me to you, and I really look forward to connecting with you more in future tutorials. Bye for now.